Hey, what's up guys? Sean here. Today we're going to do a video that we haven't done before and I can't believe it. Tool maintenance. Let's get it. Okay, so there is more to tool maintenance than just sharpening your blade. And by that I mean you got to deal with, oiling your handles. You need to oil your blades, and you even need to condition the leather on your sheaths and your masks and stuff. So today we're going to go over the oiling your handles, oiling the metal itself, the blade itself, and then oiling the leather. So we're going to go ahead and get into that pretty quick. Today we're not going to talk about sharpening. I'm not going to do sharpening videos. There's a million of them out there. It's just, that's not something I'm really interested in doing. Everybody has their own way of doing it, and I don't want to get into that. Okay, so I guess it goes without saying that before you do any of this, you should be outside or in a very well ventilated area. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to oil all the blades down, because when you get done with the blades and you start doing the handles, it takes a good while on the handles, because you need to oil the handles up real good and let it all soak in. So we're going to do all the blades first, and then we'll get into the handles. Now for the blades, I like to use a food grade mineral oil. Now I know it's a laxative. You're not going to get enough to make you get the craps. But this stuff works great. It's very thin. It's food grade, so it's not WD-40 or something like that that's gonna make your food taste bad, possibly make you sick. The mineral oil works very good, and it's not like an olive oil or vegetable oil or something that's gonna go rancid. And the vegetable oil over time will actually get sticky, and it kind of dries out a little bit and it gets sticky, and that kind of sucks, especially if you're using like a folder, if you're oiling up your folder or something like that. And it just makes it sticky and stiff and hard to use. So okay, so you can get shop rags or whatever you want to use for rags. I like old t-shirts, cut up old t-shirts, because it doesn't really leave a lot of lint behind. Not a big deal, but that's just something I like to use. So we're going to start out first with my knife. We'll get some oil on the rag, and you can kind of be liberal with the oil. This stuff literally, I think it costs like $1.98, and it doesn't take very much of it. So I'll just oil this rag down real good, and that will probably be enough oil to do everything, honestly. But just kind of get the rag good and oily, and you don't want to leave a ton on there anyway. So as you can see, my blades get used. These are not museum pieces, they're not show pieces. These things get used. So there's some patina on there, and I'm fine with that. I'm not a huge fan of fake patina. I don't really understand it. I know there's a lot of guys that do that, and that's a source of contention, but I'm not really a huge fan of fake patina, because if you get out and you use the knife, it gets the patina naturally. Alright, so next up is my Cold Steel Trail Boss. I love this little axe. It's not super expensive, but man, this thing works great. And it actually holds a good edge on it. So I've been really happy with this thing. It's definitely not a higher end axe, but the thing works great, and that's what I care about. Next we have my Russian shovel. If you saw in the video, it was the Thanksgiving video, I wrecked this thing. So guys, make sure you're using the tool correct for the job. That's another thing I'm kind of bad about, just grabbing whatever I've got close at hand. And Pop used to tell me when I was a kid that a crescent wrench is not a hammer. So anyway, we're gonna oil this thing down real good and get it ready to go. We're pretty good on our blades now. Let's go ahead and oil the leather, and then we'll jump into the handles and wrap this thing up. I'm going to use a different rag for each of my oils, just because I don't want to be contaminating everything. Not that it really matters, but that's just kind of what I want to do. So I've got my axe mask, and I've got my sheath for my Pine Ridge Forge knife. And again, these don't take a whole lot of oil, but in my opinion, it's kind of like the handle. If you put a little more oil on these guys and let it soak in, it's better. Now for the leather, you know, everybody has their own preference for what they use on leather, and I like the saddle oil here, partly because we have saddle oil here, but for the saddle for the horses, which doesn't get ridden anymore. But I like the saddle oil. It soaks in and it seems to last a good long time, and it makes the leather nice and soft and supple, and it just works for me. You use whatever kind of conditioner or leather oil or conditioner you want. So this mask, this axe mask here, actually came with my axe, and I've been pleasantly surprised with it. I figured because it came with it that it would just be a cheap little leather mask, but it hasn't been. I mean, it's good quality. Now, some of the stitching is coming out of it, but I've used this thing for a long time, and I'm okay with that. It's held up really well over the years. So, and honestly, that stitching is probably coming out from user error, just from not treating it as much as I should over the years, I'm sure. So with this thing, I'm going to treat the outside of it, and I'm going to get my hands dirty, and I'm going to get down inside of it and rub that thing pretty good inside of it, and then I'll let it cure or soak up, I guess, for a few minutes, and then I'll wipe it back out. Alright guys, last up. So as you can see, starting to lose light here. I got started later in the evening. So last up is going to be our boiled linseed oil on the handles. Super simple. Again, just make sure you dispose of your rags correctly. I can't stress that enough. I don't want to hear somebody saying, oh, I watched Sean's video and then I burned my shop down. You guys know how to handle yourself. You guys know how to do this stuff. So I'm not really teaching you anything that you don't know already, I'm sure. But I'm dragging you along with me while I do mine. Thanks for hanging out. So we're going to go ahead and oil up this rag. And excuse the donkeys and stuff in the background. Like I said, I'm outside, like I'm supposed to be. Okay, so my handle. This thing is freaking beautiful. This knife already is beautiful. But I'm going to go ahead and oil this handle up real nice. And man, that makes the grain pop out in that handle. Absolutely beautiful. But I'm going to oil it up thick. And get all the edges. And that thing, I know I'm losing light, but look at that. Ian does an awesome job, Pine Ridge Forge. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, go over to Instagram. I'll leave a link in the description. Unbelievable, unbelievable work. So I'm going to set this aside. Now, let's work on the Tomahawk. Nice thing about that Tomahawk, take the blade off of it, and you just got the handle to deal with. With your handles like your axe and your Tomahawks and even that shovel, make sure you get the end grain real good, because that's where it's going to soak up moisture the most, is on the end grain. So we're going to oil this thing up good. And like I said, I want a good thick coat of oil on there. Also, something to think about. Make sure when you're doing stuff like this, use a shirt that you're not going to care about if you get oil on it, because I am prone to getting oil on my clothes, and it'll ruin them. Alright, that looks pretty good. Next up is my shovel. And again, we're going to get this end grain in here and get that soaked up real good with oil. I'm going to wipe the rest of this handle down. Now this is just good tool maintenance to make sure you oil up your handles, and that's how you make your gear last a lot longer. I can't believe that out of all this time I haven't made a video on this yet. So that went pretty simple. I got a lot of oil on my rag, so got that thing oiled up. Last but not least, we're gonna oil this handle up real good, and then that's gonna do us. We'll have everything pretty well taken care of here. Make sure when you're oiling them down, make sure you get a lot of oil up along these edges here. Let it soak in up there, because if you get oil, or if you get water up inside here, that'll make your head get loose. So make sure you get that sealed up good. And I do have a couple of areas where I've had overstrikes, and I want to make sure those get soaked up real good too. I'll eventually go in with a piece of sandpaper or a card scraper and kind of fix those places. Man, I love the way this grain looks after you get done with it with this linseed oil. Let's go ahead and make sure we get this end grain good. Alright guys, well, pretty simple video this week, but I think it's a very important video, and if you haven't already, go ahead and get yourself some oil and get your gear taken care of. It's an important step to having gear like this. You know, this gear costs money, and take care of it. It'll last you a long time. I want to thank you for watching this video. I know it's a short one. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button, and we got some adventures and stuff coming up, so stick around for that. Hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when those videos come up. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.